YouTube, this is Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, your guide in DIY multimedia production. You're looking at video from the Mavica FD91.
This is what you were just looking at, or the footage that you just saw was from this gigantic, ridiculous digital camera from Sony that was made, when was this one made? I should have looked that up. So yeah, the FD91 was made in 1999 by Sony, and it's part of their Mavica line. And this camera, like several of the other Mavica cameras, actually recorded on a floppy disk. And so what you were just looking at, the video, I recorded on this floppy disk right here that I'm holding in my hand. And it only records a couple of seconds at a time. And to get any kind of time at all on a floppy disk, you have to set it at the lowest resolution, because obviously a floppy disk is only 1.44 megabytes in size. This camera, well actually before I get started on this, the main one that I wanted to talk about on this video was the Sony Mavica Fd7. And this one came out in 1997, and it has a 10x optical zoom, as well as a 640 by 480 resolution digital sensor. And the quality that this particular camera takes, I actually really like. And in fact, I've had this camera for many years now, and I've been running a blog with just photography with just this camera. I have one for the FD91 as well, but I haven't done as much work on that one as I have for the FD7 blog. If you want to check that out, I'll paste the link down below. And but anyway, this camera, it's one of the first digital cameras that was commercially available, or available to consumers. And like the FD91, this one also records on floppy disks, and it has a LCD display on the back, you know, pretty standard for digital cameras. It has manual focus. You can't adjust aperture settings or shutter speed or anything like that. Although it does have fairly decent aperture, like the lens I believe is f1.8, which makes it do okay in low light. I mean, you have to consider that this camera is only 0.33 megapixels. It's not even 1 megapixel. So, you know, you definitely get a lot of grain and, you know, artifacts on the image. But that's actually what makes it really cool, because the way that this actually captures images looks far closer to a VHS still than a digital photograph. And that's one of the things I really like about this camera. And like I said, I've been using it for a very long time. Every time I go on a trip, this is the first camera I take with me. I have a DSLR and other cameras as well, and the camera that I'm recording this video on. But this one, I don't know, I feel like I'm the most creative with this camera because it is very limited, and I just think it has a very unique look. And I just think it's really cool. The flash on it, it has a flash, a built-in flash, that is blindingly bright. When you take a photo with this flash, it basically washes the entire photo out completely white. I'll post a photo up here so you can see. But yeah, so the flash is ridiculously bright. This one only does still photos. It doesn't do any video. But the FD91, this one came out in 1999, and this one actually does video. And if you want to, you know, get really ridiculous, you could call this the very first vlogging camera, because it has this flip out screen where you can actually turn it around and see yourself in the screen like you can on, you know, the one that I'm recording on right now. And that's how I just did the video that you guys saw in the beginning of this. It has a more, I think, more standard look to it than the FD7, but it still has a pretty cool look on its own, and it has a pretty impressive 14x optical zoom lens on it for, at the time, this was 1999 that this came out. That's pretty good, you know. The FD7 also has a 10x zoom, which is also pretty decent, you know, especially for 1997, and allows you to get some pretty good, you know, depth of field and some, you know, or narrow depth of field in photographs if you want to zoom in on something and get the blurry background. You can do that pretty well on both of these cameras. This one shoots in a little bit higher quality. You can get 1040 by 768 resolution photos in the FD91, and you can do video. So The video quality is absolutely terrible, as you can see, but it has a certain nostalgic quality to it, so it's kind of cool if you want to use for certain things. The displays flip out, which is cool if you want to do selfies, and if you want to do, you know, videos like I was just doing. It does have a little bit more manual features. You can do manual focus, which is adjustable by this guy up here, as well as there's a adjustable white balance. You have an actual eye viewfinder in it, and you can do spot metering. And then there's also some program settings where you can do, I think you could do aperture. Let me check on that. I actually forget. If I hit the program button. So yeah, you can adjust aperture, or I think that's all. I don't think you can do the shutter speed. I could be wrong about that. I think it's aperture only. But that's pretty cool, you know, that you have that option if you want. Another very cool thing about the FD7, I actually have an extension lens for it. This little adapter screws on here, or it snaps on. And then there's this wide angle lens that snaps on here. And then you get this like really huge pancake lens on there. And this actually is really cool because you can get some pretty great landscape photos with this wide angle lens. And these are extremely hard to find. I had to look for this thing for about a year before I was able to find one. But if you're looking for one, the model name is the VCL-ES06. And you can find them. It's not that easy, but you can. You can also buy the battery chargers on Amazon. They still sell these, at least the last time I checked. If I find one again, I'll post a link down below. But I bought this charger probably about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, or maybe it was longer than that. But I did buy it on Amazon, and you know, it's not an original charger, but the battery fits in here, and it actually works with both the FD7 and the FD91. And you just slide out the batteries like this on the bottom. It's, you know, it's pretty standard, almost like an SLR battery, and it just goes into the charger, and you just plug that into the wall like you would any other battery from a camera. And the batteries you can also buy, or at least you could up until a couple of years ago. Again, I haven't actually checked that recently, but I think you probably still can. There's quite a bit of these floating around still. The FD7, I think more so than the FD91. This one seems to be a little bit harder to find now, and people are incorrectly calling this an SLR on, you know, eBay and stuff. They're trying to sell it like it's some kind of vintage SLR. It's not an SLR. It's just a gigantic digital point and shoot. Oh, to get the photos off of the floppy disks, you know, all you need is a floppy drive, and believe it or not, you can still get USB floppy drives as well. This one I actually bought on eBay from a seller on eBay, and this one's a few years old, but they still make new ones as well. You can buy new USB floppy drives, I think on Tiger Direct or Newegg and websites like that, so they're not that hard to deal with. So I just wanted to share, like, you know, my digital cameras with you guys. These things are weird, and they're a lot of fun. I enjoy taking photos, especially with the FD7. The FD91, honestly, I don't give it as much love as it deserves. Maybe I should do a little bit more. Every now and then I'll post some photos on the blog for the 91, but I think maybe part of it too is it's just so big and hard to carry around. Like, it's very hard to keep this in a bag around your body, you know, unless you have like a giant case. So I don't use this one quite as much. The FD91 with the pancake lens is my favorite combination because I can get like some pretty great shots, you know, well, great shots in wide angle and kind of like these weird looking VHS looking stills out of this thing, and it's pretty cool. I post these vintage tech reviews, you know, about once every 4 or 5 videos. I have several more items that I'm gonna go through, and I always buy new stuff that I'm looking, you know, to make videos on, and just I like this old crap, you know, and you know, I'll make a video on it if I have it. So if you enjoy this stuff, just go ahead and subscribe and click like and comment below if you want to. And thanks for watching, and have a great day, everybody.